Alright, going over this Subaru Forester all-wheel drive. Just going to take a quick look around on everything. Brake pads, they look good. Kind of hard to get the right angle on there, but there's some meat on there. Maybe this will probably be a little bit better. Maybe not. Okay. Anyway, brake pads, they look good on the fronts, rears. Same thing, kind of hard to get in there, but looking at them, they're pretty good. You're starting to get a little bit of rotor wear on the rear brakes, so I'd probably consider changing them in the future. They look like they're okay right now. Jump around to the other side. Same thing. This rotor is a lot cleaner, so this brake pad's definitely, that brake caliper is working a lot better than this side. So you can tell the difference in a rotor. So this one probably needs like a little bit of service. Probably replace the brake pad so you can do service on the back. I'll start back from the front. So again, brake pads look like they got some good life on them. Rotors look decent shape on the front. Doesn't look like there's any issues there. CV axle looks okay. You got a little bit of a leak around your transmission seal. Nothing terrible. And if you weren't sure, a lot of people confuse that for your oil filter and that for your oil filter drain. This is actually your transmission pan. So you got a little bit of leakage there. Nothing terrible, but I'd probably consider changing that filter and the transmission fluid at some point. You got a little bit of leakage around the gasket in the back. You can see a little wetness, but it's nothing terrible. I'll check the fluid when we get up top. This side, CV axle, that looks okay. Boots are intact. Your lower ball joints, they look like they're a little squished. The rubber's a little worn. So if you're hearing a little bit of rattle going on, that's what that is. Your lower control arm are here. That all looks like it's in pretty decent shape still, but they get worn. Usually this is like all one piece. You have to end up replacing. So on this side, lower control arm, again, looks like it's in okay shape, but those lower ball joints look like they're probably going to be changed out pretty soon. Your front strut, I don't see anything leaking. They don't look terribly rusted, so they're in okay shape. The one thing I did notice is this is your tie rod, and that's what basically does the steering. And I don't know if you can kind of hear that, like a little grease pop. So that seal's broken on that, and then the boot is completely broken on this side, so you can see right into the bearing. And then on that other side, same thing. You can see the leakage on it anyway, but that seal's broken. You got the same grease popping on this side. They're not terrible, but once that boot breaks, going through a winter, getting salt and stuff up there, that tie rod's going to go on you. You'll probably fail inspection the next time you go for that. Your wheel bearings, I checked them real quick. It's kind of hard holding the camera, but all your wheel bearings seem like they're pretty much intact. Look, I was looking for a little bit of a gas smell. I don't see anything from the bottom or the top that I could see. You definitely smell a little bit, but it's not terrible. I got a couple errors that also showed up, and it was basically an evap leak. So circulation of the whole system is not great. And then you had there's a couple other ones, nothing major, but. And then anyway, you got your fuel tank here, and I don't see any leakage coming from that. That's a little wet, but it's probably just from like out in the street splashing around. Then running down your brake lines, I don't see any leaks there. Let's see if we can't find the fuel line running up front. Oh, this is the other side of your transmission. So you got some leakage back there, which is typical for a vehicle this old. And then you see how it's leaking kind of like on that bolt. So that will drip right onto your catalytic converter. So you'll smell like a little bit of an oily burn coming off of that. So I have this reseal stuff. I'll probably put a pint in a trans and then a pint up in your oil. That's your oil filter. I got that draining, so that's why you got that massive oil drip going on. Letting that drain a little bit more. Everything looks decent. I don't see any like large wet marks from oil anywhere. It looks like the pan looks pretty in decent shape. You got a little bit of wetness up in there, but it's nothing terrible. Again, this age vehicle, you're gonna see all sorts of stuff going on. And then that's your transmission dipstick up there. So check that once I finish draining the oil, and then we can take a better look at that. But again, running along, I don't see any like possible fuel leaks or anything. But we'll go back up top, and after I put this back together, we'll take a look. All right, so looking up here in the engine compartment, I just got done adding oil. That's the ATA 205 reseal. I put some into. Oh, I just lost the lid there. Okay. All right, so I just added what was left of the 205 into your trans. That's a transmission dipstick. Nobody has ever pulled that out in the life of the vehicle. You were actually, however, I'll let that drain out and the rest in the engine compartment. However, you were in the fluid was in good shape, so that's a good thing. So it's kind of like not a sealed system, but it's pretty close. And let me just get this dipstick back in the transmission. Let me get a little bit better light on it. So that's your transmission dipstick. And like I said, it looks like no one has ever pulled that out. I mean, you can tell from the dust and dirt and grime that's on that. Okay, I think that's locked in. Nope, not yet. Handy dandy pair of pliers to push that down. So it's got kind of a twist. There we go. Okay, so that's down there. Make sure that's locked. Okay, so that's nice and locked. All right, so get done with that. All right, so got your dipstick back in, got your oil in there, and I'll get that cap that I drew out. All right, so your antifreeze, that's your washer fluid, so not too bad on that. That is your master cylinder, which doesn't look like it's been checked in a while, but fluid level is good in that. Again, this is your top part of your motor, and I don't see any like drip marks. It's actually remarkably dry overall for the amount of miles in a year it's got. And gas smell, again, I do not see any visible leaks anywhere. I smell it slightly, but I do not see anything, which is a good thing. So it says it's got an evap leak and a NOx sensor error. I'll send you those error codes. But NOx sensor, it just kind of messes around the engine, so it runs a little bit quieter. Not that big of a deal. I was trying to see if I can spot it. They usually have them on the engine block underneath, but I couldn't spot it. I'll have to look up to see where it is. So that's your throttle body and your air filter box, which is right there. And by the looks of it, I don't think anybody's ever probably check that in a while. So let me put you down so I can open out with 2 hands. Stand by. All right, so that's your air filter, and it actually looks pretty decent. So someone's changed that out, which is probably a good thing. But again, I don't see any other possible leaks around any place, anywhere. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. It sounds like it's probably due for a tune-up. So you got your manifold, air manifold, intake manifold there, and I don't see any leaks, oil leaks, gas leaks, or any type of leaks. Your belts, however, look kind of worn on these. They're not in great shape, your fan belts. Well, they used to call them fan belts. Now it's like a serpentine belt. But it looks like you got a couple on here. Running through, you can see like you got 2 separate ones. They should probably be replaced. They look kind of definitely on a worn side. Usually I tell people replace those belts when you get tires. Your tires are in good shape. I was going to rotate them, but you got the beefier ones on the front right now versus the back, so we'll keep them on for winter, but springtime oil change, we'll definitely rotate those. And other than that, that looks like about everything I can go over right now. And that's just me being messy with my oil change. But coolant level, we'll come back around to that. You look a little low, so I'm going to add, yeah, you're low. I'll add some coolant to that. Could also be the reason why it probably seems like it's probably burning a little bit hot right now. But overall, not in bad shape. Not in bad shape overall. Your battery, that's I'll clean that up real quick with a little bit of a wire brush. But when you start getting that kind of corrosion and stuff, you're going to come out to a dead battery at one point. So I'll clean that, spray the terminals down, make a little better connections on that. This is your power steering pump, and that fluid looks fine on there, so that's a good thing. And your alternator looks like the original alternator, so I mean that might be one thing we might want to consider and possibly be proactive on, especially the condition of that battery. But again, I'll leave that all up to you guys. Other than that, that's everything. All right, be safe.